necessary thing to stand alone. Eventually, you may end up crossing the line to fully understand that your ass is on your own. Believe me, I don't judge you just because of what you do. So don't judge me, my kids are rather not do. It ain't easy trying not to fit in. Lost touch to a few close ones cause I didn't give in. Courageous, with your life forward, Lord, it feels like gotta fight for my right to be who I really wanna be. It's hard under pressure, heady tight, so the gestures don't matter to aggressors, but I will not fall apart. But I won't give in. Even though I keep on walking alone, even believe in myself, my faith can't take my soul, nah. I wanna live my life, not to just exist. Gonna get my rights, so I fight back and resist. They wanna do it like they want me, make another me like cloning on me. Little do they know me, you can never hold me. Felt as if I was drowning with the water. The blade of pressure hit me, got my mind slaughtered. And I kept shaking, telling myself that I'm so much stronger than before, so much stronger. Nothing is promised, nothing is flawless. Everything's a contest, so I gotta take a shot. I will not take a swap on any spot, cause I got to fight back, or else just gonna be back to who I was. Feed me, talk me, I don't stop for a reason, that means gonna be me. Determined not to surrender under any circumstances. Over my dead body is the only chances.
Hello. We're back. Wait. I thought I... Nope. Nope, that's not... Oh no. Oh no. Okay, wait. Okay. We're back for more The Great Ace Attorney. Last we left off, our goat has returned. Where we are so back, as they say. Susato's returned. Oh, this room. It's been too long. It hasn't changed the slightest though. And it's been some 6 months, hasn't it? That's a long time for things to stay so familiar. I didn't know when you might return, and I wanted everything to be as you left it. But it has been some 6 months. It's true. So is your father alright, Susie? What happened? My father? Yes, Professor Rikotoba. I mean, it was half a year ago, but the way he went back to Japan because of the telegram he received saying he'd fallen ill with a very high fever for some unknown reason. That's right. So I was surprised to learn you'd be coming back so soon. Surprised? What happened? Oh yeah, I guess we didn't say this in the letter, but her dad was as we learned in the first case, her dad was fine. I think I wrote about it in my letter to you. That was all a trick. My father is in fine health, and I'm obviously very relieved about that. Well, we're all delighted to have you back. It was quite by accident that I've been able to return to Europe, actually. It's because of a very grand conference called the International Forensic Science Symposium. The International Forensic? That's the same symposium Lord Strongheart mentioned. Anyway, I've arrived safe and sound, and all that matters is that I'm here now. Yeah! After all, I haven't yet fulfilled my promise to you, Iris. Oh. You must tell us everything that happened while you were back in Japan. Yes, of course, I shall. And there's one other thing. Something you wrote in your letter that particularly grabbed my attention. About you-know-who. About Kazuma. I know. I'll tell you all of that I can. Hmm? Was there something in the letter about Kazuma? I don't remember there being something in there. Ready to tear up London. When I first arrived back in Japan, I really thought I'd never be allowed to return to Britain. Seriously. After that awful trial at the Supreme Court, Father's mood changed entirely. The awful trial. Oh, yes. For the murder of Giselle Brett. Oh, you dressed as a man then, didn't you, Susan? Oh, well, yes. This woman are forbidden in the courtroom. I had no choice. Wow, amazing. I wish I'd seen it. Don't you, Bruno? Yes, I suppose so. I want to play at being a lawyer now. I could wear a false mustache, maybe. I don't think any mustache could hide the fact that you're just 10 years old, Iris. There's something else I've been wanting to ask you, Mrs. Sato. It's about the real reason why Professor Mikotoba summoned you back from Japan. You said in your letter it was something to do with that convict's loot we found in Mr. Natsume's lodgings. That's right. A very large dog collar we found with a bee emblem on it. The Baskervilles. It seems Mr. Natsume included a drawing of the collar in the report he submitted about his time in Britain. I understand that when Father saw the report, he turned as white as a sheet. Why would that be, then? Father came to Britain himself, of course, to study. It was some time ago now, but he stayed for 6 years. Yeah, she said he went when we were right when she was born or something like that. I can only imagine that something must have happened during that time. If he refuses to tell me what it was, then I tend to find the answer for myself. I've decided that I, for one, won't keep any more secrets. Oh, Susie? That's a very meaningful look Susanna was giving Iris there. Lord Stronghart mentioned something about that symposium too. I think he said that investigative authorities from 40 different countries will attend, including Japan. Yes, and from Japan, my father and Judge Jigoku have been invited. It's something of an honor, I believe. Well, Professor Mikotoba is the leading expert in forensic medicine in our country, after all. But who's the other person you mentioned? A judge, did you say? Yes, His Excellency, Judge Seishiro Jigoku. You met him, Mr. Naruhodo? Last year, in the Supreme Court. You can't possibly have forgotten. That terrible trial of yours when you were accused of murder. Ah, yes. I try to think of that as a positive turning point in my life these days. Fair. Well, it was Judge Jigoku who presided over that trial. Oh. If I'm perfectly honest, I'd be happy to never see that man's face again in my life. Oh, well, anyway, his father was invited to the symposium. He agreed to me returning to Britain too. He won't actually arrive until next month, but, well, I couldn't wait. So I pleaded with him, and in the end, he agreed to me going on ahead. Yes, about the symposium. It seems as though Lord Stronghart has put an awful lot of work to make it happen. It's obviously very important. I believe it is, yes. As I understand it, Lord Stronghart organized the entire event himself. I think he's hoping that by achieving exceptional results, he'll get the job for Attorney General, the most senior position in the British justice system. He's hoping to use his power to create the world's finest policing institution. That's what Father said anyway. Apparently, it's Lord Strongheart's lifelong ambition. Professor Mikotoba know Lord Stronghart personally then? I wonder. Actually, Lord Stronghart gave me a long speech about all about this very subject only yesterday. But I sort of lost the will to live early on and didn't really listen to much of it. Out trying for you. Giselle Brett, the woman whose unforgivable actions ended in me being wrongly accused of a crime I didn't commit. And not only that, the person responsible for killing Professor Watson, or who we believe to be Iris's father. The murder of Dr. John H. Wilson. Yes, Giselle Brett. That's a name I won't forget as long as I live. The extraordinary thing is, though, it seems this name is a name we should all forget. Sorry? Since the incident, our government intelligence services have been investigating Miss Brett. But it turns out that an Englishwoman by the name of Giselle Brett didn't actually exist. So she was a spy. But why was she there? Didn't exist. But how can that be? It was a pseudonym. The real name was Shin, and she wasn't a visiting student either. That was a front. She was Japanese. A friend. Who on earth was she then? Miss A. Shin. Her name is literally all our attendance services have been able to ascertain about her. A. Shin. Oh, we did hear that name. That name was on the list at the end of the first game. A. Shin. We did hear. So that was with Kazuma, and then two others. So no, we knew another name on that list, but then we know 3 names of the 4 names on that list. Nobody knows why or even how she came to be in Japan. It's a complete mystery, but that makes no sense. There's no easy task to be accepted as a foreign student anywhere. What could the woman have been up to? I'm afraid I really don't know. The only thing we can be sure of is that she had some business in our country that we don't yet understand. Interested in poisons, so maybe. And now she's been killed, while all the questions surrounding her existence remain unanswered. I'm afraid so. A. Shin. Who on earth was she? And why do I feel as though I've heard that name before somewhere? Yeah, he doesn't remember the note. After my friend Ray's trial, the reporter who actually killed Miss Brett said something very strange. I know the truth. I know you had a hand in what went on. Then that visiting student's fate. Nobody here in Japan knows anything about it. They don't know that the guy never made it to England, that he died on that steamship, and that he'll never... Obviously, I couldn't ask him to elaborate at the time. But later, I visited the man in his prison cell and asked him what he was going to say about Kazuma-sama. And what did you learn? After he died on the voyage to Great Britain, his body never made it back home. His body should have been unladen at the port of Hong Kong and passed into the care of the consulate staff there. But that never happened. Should have been. Well, it turns out that his body never arrived. What? It's just disappeared. What? What? Kazuma's body vanished? Our government is trying to cover the fact up, it seems. They erected a grave on the cliffs by our hometown. Except Kazuma-sama isn't there. Did Professor Mikotoba know about this? Yes, it would seem that he did. But he didn't tell me. They're still investigating what happened to Kazuma-sama's body as we speak. So he's missing. I just don't believe it. And what is this acute feeling of apprehension I have all of a sudden? So body didn't make it. So where could he have gone? Thinking back now, some of the things that happened on the SS Buria was definitely strange. I mean, after he died, we never saw his body again, did we? Yeah, no, even I'm guessing they said the doctor was taking care of him, but I don't think they went to go see him. I don't think they were allowed to, so we don't know, so they don't really know what happened to him. I said, was he really, could it be? Uh-oh, Ryonosuke, what are you doing? Could it be that he's actually still alive? Stop it, Mr. Naruhodo. It's too much to bear. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to. Just thinking about the possibility pains me so very much. Cast your mind back for a moment, Mr. Naruhodo. Then Kazuma-sama was discovered. Mr. Sholmes was there, wasn't he? But what if he was in on it? Huh? And he definitely examined the body. I remember it clearly. Ah, you're right. Mr. Sholmes would have lied to us. So if Kazuma hadn't actually been dead at all, it would mean that Mr. Sholmes had lied to us. But there's no reason why he would possibly have done such a thing. I suppose that's true. Yes. Is what you want. The idea that he might still be alive somewhere. It wants to fill me with hope, but I can't let it, because if I turned out not to be true, then I'd be back at the bottom of that awful pit of despair again. I'm terrified of what it might of what that might do to me. Oh, Mrs. Zato. I know she's given the idea the thought it deserves. If Susato's not what we're talking about after all. So I probably shouldn't push it now. Okay. Must be about a year. It must be about a year ago now. I wrote a really long story based on some of my father's old note. Yeah, she's gonna talk about the Baskervilles. It's about the one of Hurley's greatest exploits. I called it the Hound of the Baskervilles. But then Mr. Sholmes forbade you from publishing it and put the manuscript somewhere no one could get their hands on it. But nobody knows anything about it apart from Hurley and I. But for some reason, you knew the title of it, didn't you, Susie? Oh, it sounds so exciting. The Hound of the Baskervilles. I should love to read it. And they're like, huh? It's like, how do you know that? And you wouldn't tell me how you come to know it. Yes, but I made you a promise that I would explain one day, didn't I? I think it's time. Oh! I'm only sorry I've had to keep it from you for so long, Iris. Yeah. The Hound of the Baskervilles. It was completely by accident that I came to know the title of your manuscript, Iris. It was a short while before we left Japan. I was cleaning my father's study and I saw something on his writing desk. A large box of papers. There was a label affixed to the box that was written in English. It read, The Hound of the Baskervilles. What? My Baskervilles story? Of course, I had no idea what it was at the time. My father came in and... Zato, what are you doing? Oh, father, did you look at those papers? No, I simply read the label, that's all. Well, put it out of your mind. Sorry? Forget that you ever saw it, and I'm certainly don't tell anybody else about this. Do you understand? Uh-oh, what are they hiding? But what was Iris's manuscript doing in Japan? I have no idea. But when I heard Iris mention the word Baskerville that day, the title just slipped out. I would never have guessed that it was an unpublished account of one of Mr. Sholmes' exploits. The Hound of the Baskervilles. When I returned to Japan, I asked Father to explain, but he refused to answer any of my questions, and there was no sign of the big box in his office. That's really all I know about it. Really all I know about it. I have no doubt that Father has very good reason for being so secretive about it, but still. I made up my mind to explain myself to both of you. Well, thank you for being so honest, Susie. So, Mr. Naruhodo, I'm ready to start investigating if you are. I've committed every detail about the case to memory. And Iris has told me about the disturbing happenings at the Waxwork regime as well. So, you're fully abreast of the situation already, Mrs. Zato? And I'd expect nothing less, to be honest. I would think our first port of call should be to investigate this Mr. Drebber, the engineer responsible for building the elaborate machine that was used to effect his extraordinary trick. Yes, a conjurer of sorts by the sound of it, well known in the fields of science and magic. Then we need to go and arrest him. Well, yes, he must know the truth behind this case, so I agree we need to find the man. It sounds like a case of tracking someone down. Which is a job for the police, or our great detective. Are we supposed to guess who she might be thinking of? We don't have much time, so we need to get started straight away, I think. Good idea. Well, best of luck then. Oh, you're not coming today? I'm going to Brixton Road shortly for the herb market. Let me know later how you got on, won't you? That was a little abrupt. The pull of the herb market must be strong. Okay. Yeah, we need, let's go talk to Mr. Holmes. Oh, did that guy ever wake up? Oh my. No wonder it's called the House of Horrors. I'd like to turn on my heels and go straight home via the confectionery. Being scared makes you crave sweets? I can understand that. I was looking forward to a reunion after 6 months away, but there's no sign of Mr. Soames anywhere. That's strange. He should be here investigating the abduction of the waxwork. Oh well, I suppose we'll just have to come back again later. Oh, so he's not. Crystal Tower. Oh. Hold on. I had no idea there were so many people in the world. Yeah, there's like 5 million people or so. I know what you mean. It's really packed here today. It feels as though it's taking us 2 hours just to make our way through the crowds to this point. Has it? I shut my brain down, so I didn't really notice, to be honest. Gosh, I do wish I had your absence of mind sometimes, Mr. Naruto. There you are. I had a feeling you lot would show your mugs before long. Is Gina? Ginny? Oh, Inspector Gregson. I see you're hard at work as usual. Warm greetings to you. I do hope you've been keeping well since the last we met. What's with all the ceremony? We just saw each other in court this morning. Not you, stupid. Not you, Sunshine. The gentleman so loyally at your side. Oh. Why, thank you, Inspector. How good of you to notice. He might be a bit rough around the edges, but he's still a proper English gentleman at heart, I suppose. As you probably guessed, we were hoping to investigate the scene some more. Right. Well, that's the young trainee's domain. Oi, get over here, Gina. Oh, yeah, we have to fill her in on that. She seems to be busy playing with a puppy. Probably giving it a traditional East End training. Gina? She's a police officer now? Amazing, isn't it? I don't know why I decided to do it. She's a good kid, actually. Heart's in the right place. Anyway, she got the detection, but if you ask me, yep, I think she's following my footsteps nicely. What? What do you mean? I'm being transferred. It's time for me to say toodaloo to London. Oh no, really? That's a bit sudden, isn't it? I had no idea. Where are you going to be posted then? We'll come see how you're getting along. Not likely, but you're welcome to try. If you don't mind a trip to France, that is. To France? I'll be working in the Paris police prefecture. Should be right up my alley. But France, it's an entirely different country. I don't understand. Why would you be sent there? That's the way the adult world works, Sunshine. Now don't go poke your nose in where it's not wanted. I'm intended to take the kid with me when I go. What? You're taking Gina to Paris? Well, I can't leave her here in London. Who knows what'll become of her? I suppose he's worried she slipped back into slipping her hands into people's pockets and purses. I don't think he's worried about her pickpocketing, Mr. Naruto. I think he's worried about the Reaper. Oh, of course. So that's playing on Inspector Gregson's mind too, is it? Anyway, I haven't mentioned any of this to Gina, so don't go blabbing, you hear me? No, of course not. I've got to keep that diving diva safe and sound. Until all this is over, at least. Oh, wait, did you just call me a bloomin' diving diva again? So you heard that, did you? Right, well, any questions about the scene, you can put them to my capable detective diva here. All right, you are the boss. Inspector Lestrade's in charge of you now. I suppose I better keep my word and not mention anything about Paris. So, Gina, you've got a new dog, have you? Isn't he great? Toby's his name? Oh, how delightful. How absolutely adorable. Yes, the dog does seem lovely, but it's not so lovely Inspector Gregson that's playing on my mind. Oh, it's Tobias, Tobias, to be honest. Gina, we were actually hoping that we could investigate the scene again. Yeah, all right. If it's around here, you can do what you like. Oh, that's all right, is it? I'm gonna be playing with my new friend here. Yes, Toby. Woof. Hello, Toby. He looks very polite. The machine that exploded must be atop those stairs, I presume. I haven't actually seen it yet, so if you don't mind. Sorry, you can't go up there, Suze. Oh. It's like I told Ovo yesterday. Even I ain't allowed near that wreck. That's what's it called again? The reason we ain't supposed to touch it? The special. No, that's not. No, we got rid of that. The special dispensation for scientific equipment act. Is that what you were thinking of? That's the one. That's why only them lot are allowed to investigate it. What are they called again? The forensic something. The forensic investigation team is what you were thinking of. That's the one? Yeah. But isn't it that the case that the special dispensation has been lifted? I think so. I don't really get it, to be truthful with you. You're still supposed to get permission from some big boy or other, as far as I know. What was his name again? Lord Strange something? Oh, Lord Strongheart. I'm not sure that's quite right, you know. I think you mean Lord Strongheart, perhaps. That's the one? Yeah. Apparently, he's always watching the time or something. So without Lord Strongheart's express permission, we can't investigate on the stage. So it was great, weren't it? I had a right laugh. That was a new one on me. That, you know, being in the corner, not spending the whole time worrying I'm about to be found out. You did keep an awful lot of secrets in all your previous court appearances, didn't you? Yeah, and Oda's made things hard for me every single time and all. Just do my job, Gina. But watching someone else get in the neck and is a lot of fun, actually. It was amazing when you showed that dodgy professor's dodgy experiment was a total fix. Dodgy professor, as you put it, Gina, is Mr. Naruhodo's client. Yes, I'm starting to wish he wasn't though. It's the boss I feel sorry for. It's not often duly impossible. What do you mean? He's supposed to arrest that other Kovaney, and in time for tomorrow and all. You know, the dodgy engineer. What's his name again? Mr. Drebber, you mean? Enoch Drebber? Yeah, that's the one. Yeah. So the police are looking for the mysterious man with the black monocle. I guess they would be. It's putting too much on the boss, if you ask me. He says it's giving him a gut ache. Oh dear, but I do wonder if that isn't actually from all the fried food. Engineers. The Scotland Yard are trying to track down Mr. Enoch Drebber. I wonder if they have any luck. He's really funny looking. Got two eyes what don't match. Stole a glimpse of a picture of him earlier. I mean, I didn't actually pinch it or nothing. The old devil's got it. Sorry? Who? You know, that Scotland Reaper was always glugging down glasses of that blood red punk. Ah, Lord Vanzix. He's always out of infamy, that cove. Don't know what he's always scowling about, mind. Probably would have been a pretty good boss as a ghost. You'd rather be the Reaper's apprentice than a detective's trainee? The way I see it, if the choice is between a chip-guzzling detective and a chalice-guzzling plugging demigod, you're equally badly off with both. I suppose you're right. I hadn't thought of it like that. Glad we put that one to bed. Anyway, the point is, everyone at the yard's dead set on finding the fishy engineer, but there don't seem to be no clues to go on, so they're stuck. There's nothing that can lead us to Drebber at all. Wait. Is there nothing that can lead us to Trevor at all? Where did you find that little mutt then, Gina? Oh wait, don't be so flimin' rude, Odo. Slight overreaction, don't you think? He ain't a no mutt, alright? Toby's, how did they put it? Oh yeah, a bona fide detective. Sorry? Bona fide, if I can remember proper title and everything. It's Chief Inspector Toby to you. More senior than Inspector Gregson, is he? Ooh, so he's a police dog, is he? The police recruit dogs now? I've heard that they are already being used officially in Germany as a part of their city police. They're used for chasing criminals and such like. They have a wonderful sense of smell, after all. I have a fairly good sense of smell myself, as it happens. I can tell undergarments that has been freshly okay, that's a, you shouldn't be saying that, man. I can tell undergarments that have been freshly laundered from undergarments that have it. That, you should keep that to yourself, man. That's nothing compared. That's nothing compared to this little fellow, Odo. Oh, really? According to what the boss said, once Toby got a good whiff of your drawers, he could trace that scent to the other side of the world. What? To the other side of the world? You mean he can swim? That's Mr. Naruhodo. Stop being obtuse. I think you may have missed the point by rather a wide margin. I just can't believe this. The little dog has such an incredible skill. I'm telling you. I'm telling you, Odo, there's gonna be more and more dogs doing their bits for the police in the future, right? Yeah, yes, I agree. Right? One of these days they'll be barking orders at us lot, not the other way around. Oh dear. Sorry, Gina. I don't think I agree with your vision quite that much. Well, anyway, whatever you think about that, Toby here is Britain's first police dog. I found him down in the East End the other day. Someone had just chucked him out on the street. There you go. I knew she'd lifted him from somewhere else. Oh, Gina, you're such a kind-hearted soul, aren't you? To children and to animals. So we need Lord Strongheart, so... Who the heck is this? British Supreme Court, Lord Chief Justice Office. Oh, who's that standing beside Lord Strongheart? I wonder, I've never seen her before. Ah, the young champion of the court. You had some success this morning, I understand. And you've thrown the entire government into disarray as a result. Sorry. Oh, you mean because of Professor Harebrain's experiment? Sham science being demonstrated at London's great exhibition. The country's been made to look foolish, and now the politicians are scrabbling to respond. Lord Van Zieks is with Whitehall as we speak, giving an emergency briefing. Oh dear, I didn't mean to cause any trouble. No, none of this is your responsibility. The government has entirely to blame for having been taken in. The special dispensation that prevents investigation at the scene will be annulled later today. Once that happens, a forensic investigation team will move in and deal with that scrap metal in no time. It's scrap metal now, is it? Until later then, Lord Strongheart. Who is this? Yes, thank you. Who was that? Who was that? Don't worry, that was Dr. Courtney Smith, Scotland Yard's esteemed chief coroner. Oh, she's leading the forensic investigation team's handling of this case. She was just delivering her report about the victim, in fact. Oh, I see. About Mr. Aspen. Following the outcome of the trial earlier, I asked the coroner's office to reevaluate its findings. I don't have time to tell you what she's concluded. If you want to know, you'll have to ask her directly. You can find her in the forensic laboratory. Ah, right. Now, what were you here to see me about? I could give you 7 minutes and 39 seconds of my time, so he's not running on quite so spectacularly late anymore. What exactly is the forensic investigation team you've mentioned before? The British Empire's police force must become the most exemplary in the world. For that to happen, it's imperative that we embrace forensic science and everything it has to offer. I first created a forensic investigation team a year ago. Now, unofficially, of course, to pave the way. Goodness, a year ago? Next month in Symposium, I intend to present the results of the work to the world. Once I do that, the House of Lords will be powerless to oppose the creation of a full-scale forensics division. And once that happens, the position of Attorney General will be mine, and criminals will suffer dearly. What do you mean? For too long, those scoundrels have made a mockery of our legal system with false evidence and bribes. But London's scum is about to be rounded up and burnt in the fires of hell. I intend to see to it personally. By creating the finest police force the world has ever known to protect our honor and the future. And our future. Look at those eyes. He means every word. Fierce. Dr. Sith is an extremely reliable coroner. When I officially establish the forensic division at the Scotland Yard, she will run it as my right-hand woman. Now then, speaking of the symposium, Miss Mikotoba. Oh, yes, my lord. Your father should be on his high seas as we speak, making his way here to represent the Empire of Japan. Yes, that's right. I understand he will arrive at the beginning of next month. Are you acquainted, Lord Strongheart? With Professor Mikotoba, I mean. You could say that. It was many years ago now, but yes. I remember Dr. Mikotoba very well. Ah? The Mikotoba connection. If my memory serves, it was some 15 years ago now that your father came to Britain as a visiting student. It was the year I was born, so yes, 16 years ago, in fact. Mikotoba was a young practitioner of forensic science, and Shigoko accompanied him as a young, promising judge. Oh! The punctiliousness and politeness of the Japanese at the time impressed us greatly. Not that I wish to imply impoliteness or carelessness on your part in any way. I didn't think that you were. Dr. Mikotoba studied forensics at one of London's large hospitals, St. Sinners, if I'm not mistaken. Dr. Scythe was also there then, as it happens. Then, Dr. Scythe knows my father, does he? Does she? She was a young medical assistant at the time, so I doubt their paths crossed regularly. But I've no doubt they knew each other superficially. After all, Dr. Mikotoba was here studying his subject for some 6 years in total. 6 years? That's a long time to be studying abroad. So yeah, he left when she was born, so he was not there for 6 years of her life. I lived with my grandmother in those years. So he left his newly born daughter behind, and that's what I'm saying, bro. You didn't, but that kind of thing only happens once. But well, okay, but so does your child being orphaned. I don't see. It was a rather turbulent time at home. Oh, perhaps father wanted the reason to get away. Uh-oh. What do you mean? Why? Well, don't say if you don't want. Well, clearly something was going on at the time. Yeah, that's your family history. We don't need to be prying into the. I wanted to ask you about Lauren Van Zieks, actually. I heard that his older brother was killed some years ago by a mass murderer known as Professor who targeted noble royalty. Is that right? You Japanese are a thorough lot. You've done your research well. Yes. And you could say it was that very incident that gave the rise to the Reaper. What? Why? When his brother, Clint Van Zieks, was murdered, it was just after young Barak has graduated from the University of London and became a prosecutor. When obvious criminals who managed to evade conviction in court started disappearing, rumors quickly spread that throughout the capital. Londoners started to say that whenever Barak Van Zieks went, the ghost of his dead brother wasn't far behind. Oh my word. So Lord Van Zieks isn't the Reaper, it's the ghost of his brother? Ever since that time, he became a very aloof figure in London's legal crime circles. Okay, that's all he claimed. That was 7 minutes. Oh yes, Lord Strongheart. Go ahead. It's about Professor Harebrand's experimental machine. We'd like your permission to examine the remains, if possible. Are you well versed in science then? Not in the slightest. In fact, you could say I was barely aware of the subject at all until recently. Well, the special dispensation legally preventing investigating the machine is currently being annulled. Within a few hours, Dr. Seitz's team of forensic experts will begin their own investigation. But I suppose until then, there's no harm in you looking at the wreckage, as long as you touch nothing. Thank you. Being able to look at it is better than nothing. And I'll be able to see it too. Your time is up. You'll have to excuse me now, I'm afraid. My next engagement calls. We are extremely sorry to have troubled you when you were so busy, my lord. I have important matters to attend to in preparation for the symposium, you understand. Yes, of course. Whoa, that's... Get permission. Gina, we were actually hoping that we could investigate this thing again. Yeah, all right. If it's around here, you can do what you like. Oh, that's all right, is it? I'm gonna be playing with my new friend here. Ah, yes, Toby. Woof. The machine that exploded must be at the top of those stairs, I presume. If I haven't actually seen. Sorry, I don't. Sorry, you can't go up there, Suze. Oh. It's like I told you, Odo. What's it called again? Yeah. Actually, we've just recently been to see Lord Strongheart. Eh? You what? You've met him? Last time Bosses was called to go and see him, he waited for 3 hours at the Cove's office and came out back sniffling. Tragic. Well, Lord Strongheart has given us permission to examine the scene, as long as we touch nothing. Oh, yeah? Oh, yeah? Honestly. Alright then, go ahead. But if it turns out you're lying, it'll be the boss who gets it. He'll never eat another chip again in his life. So, you're still saying all this is above board, are you? I'm sure everything will be fine. That really would be tragic. All right then them's the stairs. Off you go. Oh, thank you, Gina. Oh, I forgot. Let's just no. We can go there later. These stairs lead to the station. Let's go and see what we can find out. Oh, that wasn't there before. Oh my, so this is the machine that was used to deceive people into thinking instantaneous kinesis had taken place. Yes, that's right. Or rather, it was the machine. It's a little worse for wear at the moment. What extraordinary lengths did nice Professor Harebrine went in order to obtain the research grant? No. The professor was strict as well. He didn't know anything about it at all. About anything about it. Yes, of course. It is amazing though, isn't it? The scale of the whole affair is so very British. You're right about that. You'd never see such a grant exception in Japan, that's for sure. Oh, look. Is that? Oh, Lord Van Zeeks? So, I think we're more or less done here, aren't we? I think we're more or less done here, aren't we? Shall we, Mr. Zato? Already? He is the Reaper, remember? We do well to keep our distance, remember? But we have permission to be here, from the top. We're perfectly well allowed to investigate the machine, as long as we don't touch anything. From the top, do you mean Lord Strongheart? Exactly. So we can stay here and stare at this wreckage for as long as we'd like. You could have been at the center of the explosion here, and it wouldn't have been a better steel will. What a terrible explosion it must have been. Even the steel girders have buckled and twisted in the blast. What they call the bird cage is right in the middle of it all, just here. But look, Mr. Hardo, that metal grill on the floor looks as though it's been designed to open. It does. Oh yeah, it does actually, doesn't it? As the floor had been opened at the precise moment of the explosion occurred, the birdcage could have dropped through and disappeared from sight. I don't think there's any doubt this was a very elaborate hoax, is there? This wasn't here yesterday. Really? But if I'm not mistaken, it's the cage in which the victim was standing before he was apparently beamed through the air. That's right, the birdcage. According to what Professor Harebrine said in court, it's made of wood. So, or more precisely, Japanese cypress, I think. Huh? And despite having been in an explosion and then falling from a great height, it's relatively unharmed. What wonderfully durable construction, wouldn't you agree? Say, Mr. Naruhodo? I had understood that the forensic team had taken it away yesterday to examine it. I suppose they must have brought it back here when they finished their work. But sadly, not with the body inside it. Sadly? No, that's right. I know we were given strict instructions not to touch anything, but still, this is too important a piece of evidence to overlook. We might need it for the trial. We're stealing the birdcage. Hold on, let's examine that birdcage. Look here, Mr. Zato. Oh yes, the wood's cracked and broken a little. I suppose because it fell from such a height? Yes, from the height with which the balloon was flying down into the crystal tower below, a fall of about 30 feet, or 9 meters, leaving the man inside tragically dead. That. Look at that horn-shaped transmitting device. Isn't it amazing? That's exactly what I thought when I first saw it. It makes you think, doesn't it? If only I had just been a normal horn, none of this would have happened. That's almost exactly what I thought as well. I bet I can predict what you're going to say next in that case. You're about to say, nothing ever goes to plan. Aren't you? Oh no, I would never say something like that. Just liar. I mean, well, I guess we might as well talk to him. Least approachable man in the world winner 10 years in a row. Be strong, Mr. Naruhodo. Your country and your assistants stand firm behind you. Lord Van Zeeks. Oh. He's pondering what? Well, Beautiful weather we're having, isn't it? I thought I was making it quite clear that I didn't want to be disturbed. Apparently, you Nipponese are unequipped to read the signs. Oh, I read them. Don't worry, I got. So, what are you doing here? Entry to this area was prohibited. Well, the thing is, Lord Chief Justice Strongheart granted us permission to investigate on the condition that we didn't disturb anything. And yet you managed to disturb me. Never mind. State your business then. State your business then. Come to think of it, there are quite a few things I'd like to ask Lord Van Zieks about. Not least of which is that awful case, even though it's nothing to do with this. Ask away, Mr. Naruhodo. You won't know unless you try. That's Hey, you want to talk about your dead brother for a second? It's like, are the police trying to locate the engineer, Mr. Drebber, already? Surely that goes without saying. Be very keen to see him found as well. Trouble is, we don't have much to go on aside from the description of the man we heard in court. Earlier. Which, according to the Professor Hairbrain, was of a tall, thin gentleman who has straight white hair and wears a black monocle. So, I was just wondering. I mean, I realize it's probably not possible, but we very much appreciate any more clues you can give us. Wow, Susato-san really knows how to take the bull by the horns. Fine, why not? Fine, why not? I have a photograph of the man here from an investigation 10 years ago. Oh. Hold on. Am I crazy? Do these two guys not look the same? Maybe. No, not really. I mean, kind of. No, kind of. Maybe, kind of. But it appears he hardly had that black monocle at the. Yeah, but though it appears he already had that black monocle at the time. What? Oh, no, nothing. I was just surprised that you shared that with us. We all need the man's testimony at court tomorrow, which means we have to do everything we possibly can to track it down in the short time available. So why wouldn't I show you the photograph? What? What is it about Lord Van Zieks? Sometimes I just can't work him out at all. The photo, yeah. Whatever. So we're gonna give that to Holmes. Okay, and then, hey, do you want to talk about, was the name of your older brother, I understand, Lord Van Zieks? You Nipponese, I always have to be on guard whenever you're around. So, you've been investigating me, have you? Oh, no, it's not like that. Well, alright, it is a bit like that. My older brother was also a prosecutor. Oh, his older brother. Okay, no, I thought he was the older brother. No, so he's the younger brother. Okay, he was a part of the Van Zieks family, but tragically, the vicious killer took him from us. The professor, you mean? Is something funny? That's the extent of what you've discovered, is it? I shouldn't be surprised. Sorry? There's more to it then. Lackluster work is very much your trademark, isn't it? Ugh, you're too kind. Are you going to tar all Nipponese with the same brush next? So tell me, what's your interest in that historic incident? As it happens, Lord Van Zieks, there's a rather curious case that's come to our attention. Oh, we're gonna tell him, hey, have you heard of something called the Hound of the Baskervilles? And like, what do you know about that? Are you aware of the Madame Tuspel's Museum of Waxwork by any chance? I am, naturally. I believe that since last month, I feature in one of the displays there for public scorn. Of course, the infamous Reaper of the Bailey would have been to be exhibited, wouldn't he? Well, a particular waxwork has been stolen from the place, and he held for ransom. A particular waxwork, which... Wait, you mean... Yes, it's the professor. Mr. Soames is investigating the case as we speak. I was unaware of that. He's turned as white as the sheet. Yeah, because it's related. Probably Mr. Aspen or something is that professor. Oh, hello, stranger. The file requested for the trial tomorrow. Thank you. She's like, hey, wait a minute, who is that? Are you all right? Who is this man, Mr. Naruhodo? I don't know. Lord Van Seek's apprentice, apparently. So I'm not the only one. Yeah, so I'm not the only one. Suzato-san can see it too. Lord Van Seeks, may we speak with your apprentice for a moment? Nope. With him? Why? It's fine? Nope. Kazuma-sama. No way. Wait. Why would he stop? What? Azuma? What? I don't believe it. Your posture, your presence. It can only be. It's you, isn't it, Kazuma-sama? It's probably gonna be he doesn't remember. I felt something strange the very first time I encountered him, this cloaked figure, as if I knew him or somehow. Can it really be you, Kazuma? Wait, wait! Too late. What's going on here? Your apprentice. No, he said he doesn't know either. What is your interest in my apprentice exactly? You act as if you know the man or something. Well, since when has he been in your care? I don't recall you having an apprentice before I left Britain 6 months ago. Lord Strongheart introduced him to me about 3 months ago now, with instructions to mentor him as a prosecutor. But he didn't tell you why, did he? Of course not. The man appears to be suffering from amnesia. He's forgotten every last detail about himself. He has amnesia. Tomorrow, he will appear in court at my side. What? He's to serve as my judicial assistant. On Lord Strongheart's orders, he'll be in court with us? Now then, unless I'm much mistaken, I believe this conversation has run its course. Oh, yes. Thank you. I definitely saw a reaction there. When Suzato-san called out like that, it really seemed to hit a nerve. When she called out Kazuma-sama. Oh no, so that's pretty much... So that means that bonk on the head didn't kill him. But then that also means that Mr. Holmes lied. So you'd already met that masked man, hadn't you, Mr. Naruhodo? Yes, yesterday, in fact, at Lord Van Zeek's office. I see. And if Kazuma-sama really is still alive, it means that Mr. Sholmes lied to us. Yeah, exactly. That's what that would mean. I know. We're going to need to speak to him about that. You're going to have to leave now. The forensic investigation team are due to arrive shortly. If they find you here, it will cause problems. What sort of problems? Foreign affairs problems. Well, we could do without that. All right, we'll be on our way. Let's go, Mrs. Zato. Of course. Mr. Holmes got some splaining to do. Hold on, I want to see what CS says about to say about the tower. That's particularly notice. Ah, the crystal tower. I can't believe I'm seeing it at such close proximity with my own eyes. You've really been looking forward to the great exhibition, haven't you, Mrs. Zato? Oh yes, when I found out that I had to return to Japan, I'm afraid I cursed my luck. But here you are, back in London, gazing up at the magnificent tower. I know. Perhaps it was wrong to curse my luck so harshly. What a shame that a symbolic landmark of the great exhibition has been damaged like that. Yes, unfortunately, the birdcage crashed into the most prominent position possible. But it's the gods giving us a warning, if you ask me. Man must travel under his own steam and not cut corners with instantaneous kinesis. But imagine what might have happened if the birdcage had landed in a slightly different location. The death toll could have been far worse. So I think perhaps it was a blessing in disguise. Well, the gods are benevolent, obviously. It did say it was just a warning. Man must travel under his own steam, or next time, bird cages will rain down on all of you. Your faith is much stronger than I realized. Well, how do you think I passed the entrance exam for Yume University? It wasn't by studying alone. Oh, that's kind of distressing. But we see the vibes. Okay, well, let's go. Well, we've done here. Let's go. Oh, this looks very rare. What are we getting to, the Resident Evil game all of a sudden? Well, specifically like Resident Evil 2, where the chief has that room for his hobbies. I believe this is it. Dr. Scythe's laboratory. That chemical smell really assaults the nose, probably formaldehyde. And there's plenty of us to assault the eyes in here too. It looks as though the doctor is in here. Yeah, but we're here now, so we might as well do some sightseeing, don't you think? What a seasoned tourist you've become, Mrs. Zato. We could just have a little look around, being careful not to upset any restless souls. So, Skelly, deadbeat. Well, look at this. What a magnificent display case. The cherry wood has been polished to high sheen and an intricate carving to just joy to behold. Not paying attention to what's inside it at all. Western cabinet makers really are very skilled, aren't they? Mr. Naruhodo, do you have nothing to say about the skeleton inside, Mr. Naruhodo? I'm trying not to think about it, Mr. Zato. Can't you tell me that I'm trying very hard to avoid talking about the terrifying contents of the case? Oh, it's how I cope. I'll be sure to remember that from now on. Yeah. Look at all the bottles on the shelves on the cabinets. The shelves in these cabinets. What an assortment of chemicals. These ones here are labeled highly toxic. Ugh, that's a worrying, because there are also things that look like salt and pepper shakers in here. Oh yes, and they actually say salt and pepper on them. Huh? The doctor probably spends a lot of time in this room, I suppose. Perhaps she has meals in here sometimes. Life goes on, even when you're surrounded by death. At the table, a set of sharp tools. When you consider each in isolation, it all looks quite innocent. So why is it that we put them side by side? They seem so horribly disturbing. It might be best not to ponder it too deeply. Seeing the large tome that's on the desk does make me wonder, though. How can anybody concentrate on bookwork with all this acrid odor of chemicals in the air? You either have to have a cast iron constitution or a really terrible sense of smell. These large jars seem to have pale things floating around inside them. I suppose they're full of fruit liquors or something, or like pickled umeboshi plums. Ah, Father had jars like that in his laboratory as well. I expect there's human organs in the preserving solution, probably as examples of some rare medical condition. Mr. Zato, there are some things in the world that it's perfectly fine never to know about. Ever. Oh, So as I said, I'm sure they're fruit liquors or umeboshi, aren't they? Oh, of course. Uh-oh, look at this big, thick book here. Holy. Ah, it appears to be an accounting ledger. It's a record of the forensic investigation team's spending, I think. Oh. Oh? What is it? It's clear that the team purchases various equipment and supplies on a monthly basis, but, well, one entry seems rather strange. Really? In what way? They're buying 500 scalpels every month. 500? They must be working really hard on dissecting corpses. I don't know. Judicial autopsies are only carried out in certain special circumstances, and scalpel blades can be sharpened too. It does seem a bit strange. You're right. 500 scalpels a month. What could they possibly be using all them for? Laundering. That's what we came here for. What are you doing? Ah. Sorry, we had something we wanted to ask you, but you weren't here, so you thought you'd snoop around. That's acceptable to you people from the East, is it? Well, what do you want? Snakes, the Lord of the Year of the Snake. Well, you see, Lord Strongar's told us, you see, that it was you who examined the victim's body, or Mr. Aspen's body, I mean. So we came to ask you about your findings on Lord Strongar's advice. Very well. If the Lord Chief Justice has given his consent, I'll tell you what our investigation reveals. But when we're done, you must leave immediately. So, you want to know what the forensic investigation... Oh, wait a minute. Oh, wait. Is she the thing? No, well, this looks like a man. Oh, never known, but this looks like she has this. Could be. So, you want to know what the forensic investigation team determined from its examination of the scene? The victim, Mr. Odie Aspen, who disappeared from the experimentation stage amid an explosion, and the Mr. Aspen, who disappeared moments later partway up the Crystal Tower, were without question one and the same person. That is the team's conclusion. But that can't be right. No, so basically, no. So what the issue is now is that not that he was teleported in the air, is that he somehow made it to the tower. If it was an elaborate trick, we can only speculate about how it's carried out. It was carried out. Let's see. If two people who look very similar to each other were involved, they could have made it appear as if one single person had switched places, couldn't they? Very true. But sadly, in this instance, that was not the case. The man who disappeared and the man who subsequently reappeared was the same person. The fingerprints at the scene make that quite evident. Ah, fingerprints. They're not yet officially recognized as forensic evidence in the British justice system. Yeah, we learned that in the last case. But on one day, they will be used as an investigative aid as a matter of course. Oh my, but that would mean that an instantaneous kinesis took place. So where does that leave us? Well, that's you to figure out, not me. My team was tasked with investigating, not drawing conclusions. Ah, of course. Instantaneous kinesis is possible to get the body hidden from one place to another. This hasn't been cleared up anything at all. It's made the whole thing of even more of a mystery. All right. And who is this? Mama, what is this? Eh? Who are you? Ah, where did she spring from? And did she just call the doctor Mama? This is a lawyer, dear. Oh. Hello? To meet you, pleased to meet you. Yes, I'm a defense lawyer. Ryunosuke Naru. Mama? Yes? Can I cut this one out? What? I've never seen inside an Eastern person before. I want to know what it looks like. Of course you can't. It's a live specimen, as you can very well see. Boring. Oh, okay. I think I just had a near-death experience. Oh dear, Mr. Naruhodo, you're as pale as a corpse. Then let's leave before I'm mistaken for one. Okay, so I guess we're... You need to talk to him? Oh, we can talk. Okay, we can talk to him. What's he doing? He's... Oh my! The whole wall's covered. The whole wall of the cell is covered in mathematical equations. And he's still writing more. Professor, sorry to interrupt. Oh, Mr. Naruhodo. And who is this young lady? My name is Susato Mikotoba. I'm Mr. Naruhodo's judicial assistant. It's a pleasure to meet you, Professor. Mikotoba. Oh, if only I'd met a refined young woman like you sooner. None of this would have happened. No, that's not logical. That makes no sense at all. Oh dear, I'm sorry if my presence here upsets you. I owe you an apology too, Professor. I didn't manage to deliver what I promised you I would in court this morning. No. The whole thing, this whole miserable affair, it all happened because I've been such a complete and utter clot. Professor Hairbrain, what have you been working on in your cell? Oh, you mean that? Oh dear, how embarrassing. I was suddenly struck by an idea, you see, and I simply had to write it down. The wall was all I had to hand. Oh, is it some new hypothesis? Something to suppress the super high voltage instantaneous kinesis, maybe? No, actually, this is my autobiography. Your autobiography? How I was diddled and fiddled. Oh, yeah, I might want to change. Think about that title, my friend. I was diddled and fiddled by Albert Hairbrain. I found I could represent my odd fortunes with only odd numbers in an ambitious set of simultaneous equations. Really? I'm going to have to pay back all the loans I took for the kinesis machine, you see? So it's going to be a news serial publication for next month, part 1. Part 1, an odd birth and an odd upbringing. You can't beat the man's optimism, that's for sure. I see. Well, for now, would you mind if we talked a little bit more about the case? Oh yes, of course. I've been working through the numbers. I was fiddled by the pair of them, by Aspen, and by that Luluf engineer, Drebber. We're not going to have to sit through that explanation of all these questions, are we? Everything I believed in has been turned on its head. My research, Mr. Aspen, the kinesis machine, my hypothesis even. I'm sorry it's come to this. There was really no other way. No, it's not your fault. I wanted to protect my work. But in the end, there was nothing worth protecting. It was never my intention to deceive anyone. I didn't want to trick the public. No, of course you didn't. But in court this morning, I realized something. Oh? If you've done something wrong without knowing it. You've still done something wrong, logically. It makes no difference if you're aware or not of it or not. Ignorance is a poor excuse. The blame still lies with me. Oh, Professor. He believed in me this morning, you know? Barrock did. He believed in my hypothesis. Well, I think That was just a necessary factor in the prosecution to establish its case. No, no, no. Barrack wouldn't do something like that. I'm sure he genuinely believed it. Did he? I think I understand now. Why was that he decided to take out the prosecution in my trial, I mean. After the terrible accident happened, nobody would believe in my hypothesis anymore. Not the police, not the prosecution service, not any lawyers even. I feel like I dealt some kind of finishing blow there. So if any other prosecutor had taken the case, if it was anyone other than Barrack, Barrack or Barack? Baroque? I'm sure the prosecution would have declared my hypothesis a complete and utter nonsense. And in that case, you would have been declared a fraud yourself, Professor. Exactly, which would only have been would have been a fate worse than death for me. But Barrack insisted that I was a proper man of science from start to finish. You think that's why he? I know him very well indeed. He's an extremely kind-hearted soul. But that extremely kind-hearted soul spent all morning trying to paint you as a murderer, didn't he? Well, admittedly, that part of the analysis proved to have some flaws in it. And what about the whole Reaper set of things? How does that fit in with the kind-hearted soul idea? Do you think he set out to trick me for every start? I'm sorry to say, that does seem likely a yes. When I first met him, he introduced himself as a wealthy financier. He looked over the paper I'd written and said my work would benefit all humanity and must be pursued. He was so enthused, he was so empathetic. But in reality, he was a mastermind behind some vast criminal network, it seems. I still can't believe it. As the machine was essentially a set decoration for some stage magic. I probably didn't require a large amount of investment, actually, but the scale of it, it wasn't just some small trick. It was a very elaborate feat of deception. All young scientists are full of hope about their burgeoning ideas, full of zeal, but none of us have any money. We want to do research, but we can't afford it. Many of us take on very legal part-time work to try and earn a few measly pennies to carry on. To go through all of that, only to be taken for a complete fool. It's too rotten to believe. It is. I agree. And that's why we have to find those responsible and bring them to justice. Sorry, hold on. Mr. Enoch Drebber. Is he an engineer or a magician or a swindler? It was about a year ago now. It was about a year ago when Mr. Aspen first brought Drebber to meet me at my laboratory. Since then, I met him many times to discuss details about the kinesis machine. But at no point did you have any inkling to hear that he was just an illusionist? Oh, he definitely wasn't just an illusionist. What do you mean? He was a wealth of deep scientific knowledge. There's no question that he demands a genuine scientist. It's instantly apparent in conversation. I see. But the wretched man deceived you, Professor. It's unforgivable. We must do everything we can to find him and bring him to justice. Are there no more clues you can give us about as to his whereabouts? I'm sorry, we have only ever discussed the kinesis machine, nothing else. Although, just once, I did visit his workshop. What workshop? Jefferson Norris fabrication laboratory, where he constructed my great machine. You should say that, dog. You... Yeah, that's kind of a big deal, man. Why didn't you mention this before? Enoch Drebber's workshop. There's for every chance we might find him, the man there. Yeah, you should have... So you've been to Drebber's place of work then? Yes, just once, you understand? It was an enormous place, plenty of room to construct the kinesis machine, you see. Where can we find it? We have to go there at once. There's a good chance we'll find Drebber there. Well, yes, definitely. I'm sure. As in, I'm sure you're not going to want to hear this. He forgot. But I have absolutely no idea where the workshop is at all. I'm so sorry. I was more than half expecting that, to be honest. You see, I was blindfolded in the carriage the entire way there. Huh? He blindfolded you? He wasn't taking any chances then. The place was incredible, the pinnacle of modern engineering. Even the oil he used was the very best, a special French machine oil that's impossible to obtain in Britain. Oh! Ah, the indescribable scent of that imported oil. Perfumers across the world should forget their secret formula and use that instead. Oh! What do you think, Mrs. Sato? Ode the machine for your next birthday? I've never used any kind of perfume used in Naruhodo, and I'm not sure I'd like to start with that. I don't suppose you know even part of the workshop's address, Professor. You don't have a business card for Mr. Drebber, or for example? The man was clearly very cautious with Mr. Sato. I'm sure he would never have... Aha! Oh! Yes, I do. He gave me his business card once. It's right here. Look. What? Let me see that. Throw etiquette to the window, why don't you? It smells. Enoch Drebber, engineer. I'm afraid that's all it says. There's no address. No. Oh well. I can't say I'm surprised. Still, this could be a useful Drebber's card of the... Yeah. Let's go to Toby. You have anything to say about the photo? Okay, what do you think of this? No, okay. Well, take it away. I don't want to be bothered with anything that doesn't exist by science. Keep it up under here on. Okay, what about this? Hey. Oh, let's examine this dark smudge here. I think perhaps it's machine oil. Ah, yes, possibly. Professor Harebrine mentioned something about the oil Mr. Drebber uses, didn't he? He said it was specially imported, very high quality oil that's impossible to obtain in Britain. Yes, that's right. But more importantly, that's more fragrant than the finest perfume. So excuse me a moment. Oh, it doesn't appear to have any scent at all. Don't worry. I expect that just because there's such a tiny amount here. Yo, about this, Gina. Yeah, I'm still learning me letters at the moment. I don't know. I only know A to E, so it ain't too much bleeding. So if it ain't too much bleeding trouble. Actually, Gina, it's the back of the card that's important. Eh? How come? There's just a dirty old smudge on the back, that's all. It turns out that this is a very high quality French machine oil. It has a very particular scent, apparently. You don't say. Let's have a whiff of it then. You're sure? I don't smell nothing. No. We didn't mean you should smell it. Oh, right. You mean Toby. Yes, his sense of smell is so good. He can trap people over the oceans, can he? Professor Harebrine informs us that this oil is unique to Mr. Drebber's workshop. I think he's picked up a scent. So you mean if he follows the scent of this oil, Toby could lead us to that dodgy Cole's workshop. That's right. That's exactly what we were hoping. All right then, we'll give it a go. I'll just borrow that. What? Wait, when did you? Once a pickpocket? If I can lead everyone to that driver's workshop, I'll be the boss's boss before next week. Oh yes, Gina. I'm sure you'll be promoted. Poor Gregson. Right then, Odo, leave it to me. Sorry? We're gonna go get going after that dodgy engineer Cove right this minute. Oh, but hang on. Someone's supposed to be on guard duty area all the time. I'm afraid we can't help. We need to get on with our investigation as well, Gina. Oh, right. Oh well, never mind. If it ain't gonna be me what gets it in the neck, it'll be the boss. Poor Gregson again. Ready, Toby? Get the oil sent, have you? Come on then, boy. See you later. I do hope the scent of that oil leads them to that swindler's workshop. Yes, I hope so too. Immediately before the dog swims across the channel to France. Well, I think we've done all the investigation we can here for now. We could just determine the whereabouts of Mr. Trevor. I'm sure Gina and Lotus won't let us down. Now then, do you think we ought to try and speak to Mr. Soames at this point? We have things to discuss, and I'm dying to meet him again after all these months. Yes, it's quite possible you might know something useful. You're right. We have to find him at the Madame Spells. He's supposed to be working there as a temporary waxwork exhibit. Yes, Iris told me all about this latest unusual venture. Okay, so that... Here we are again at the House of Horrors. I'm afraid I haven't got used to the place yet. I'd still like to turn on my heels and go straight home via the confectionery, of course. Sada-san really is after something sweet today, isn't she? Oi! What's the matter? Look, Mr. Naruto, look at that waxwork. I'm quite sure it wasn't there before. It looks exactly Mr. Soames, down to the very last detail. Aha! What is it? Oh, sorry. I think you're fine. That's the temporary waxwork himself. Ah, the friend of my dedicated employee. Oh yes, hello again. It's Ryunosuke Naruhodo. I must say, I'm quite spellbound by the great detective. He is a marvel. My precious wax was already back where it belongs. You don't mean... But yes, the mystery is solved already. Wow, Mr. Soames can really engage his brain when he's hungry enough. So as you can see, he has returned to his habitual duties. Yes, his habitual duties. Hellos, do not disturb. Eh? Poor Suzato-san. She looks very perplexed. Ah yes, the heavy curtains in the middle of the House of Horrors. Whatever's on the other side of them, you just know it's going to be terrifying, don't you? The sign says it's the Madame Tussauds special exhibit. It seems you have to pay extra to go inside. I know, can you believe that? Pay more money? If as we haven't been scared enough already. It's not my doing, Mr. Naruhodo. We really do need to speak with Mr. Soames, and I'm longing to say hello again. But where is he? give him a little razzle dazzle. I think you might find that he's quite nearby, actually. Oh? What do you... Indeed, my dear fellows, it is I. The world-famous great detective and waxwork, Sherlock Holmes. Oh, she faded. Oh, Susanoo-san! Susanoo! Oh dear. Oh dear. Oh brother. Oh brother. My most humble apologies. I thought I died and gone to eternal paradise for a moment via London. My dear madam, allow me to make amends by offering you a tasty free deduction at some point, as long as it's not of questionable street food quality. I don't understand. Why are you working as a waxwork here, Mr. Sholmes? Merely a secret identity, you understand. Though the case is largely solved now. Largely solved? We were talking about the waxwork abduction, I presume? But indeed we are, my good fellow. As I predicted, it was easy at the proverbial pie. Though I confess, I'm yet to partake of a pie, proverbial or otherwise, or any food so far today that I'm out. Oh no, get this man some food. That stomach rumbling echoed around the whole museum. How did you manage to solve it so quickly? Ah, well, you remember what I said, it was largely solved, not completely. Anyway, I simply negotiated with the culprit. Are you familiar with the so-called telephone? Oh yes, it's the most modern invention, allowing you to hold a conversation with people far away. In Japan, only the imperial capital and a handful of other cities are connected as yet. This morning, the telephone call was received here from the perpetrator of the abduction. As such, I was able to negotiate the terms, and in the end, the waxwork was returned. That's amazing. Just between you and me, you and I, it would appear that the culprit has always intended to return the stolen waxwork at any event. Oh, but I thought whoever was responsible had demanded a ransom, no? Yes, I think perhaps it was just a thing, a way of getting them to wait. The ransom demand was necessary to avoid unwanted suspicion regarding the true motive. But does that not mean your negotiating was entirely unnecessary? And in fact, I must ask you to keep from mismanaging spells at all costs. A hungry young Iris awaits my return to Baker Street after all. Poor Iris. Now then, do I sense that you have some business with me with this great waxwork? Yeah, we were in the process of trying to track somebody down. Oh? Oh? Yes, a man by the name of Enoch Drebber. He's a swindler who duped Professor Hairbraid and the engineer who built the kinesis machine. A swindler and an engineer? Quite the modern man. He also seemed to be a conjurer of sorts too, with considerable knowledge of stage magic. We really need to locate him before the trial resumes tomorrow morning. But we have so few clues to go on, that's the trouble. Do you have any good ideas? I have no data yet. I have no data yet. It's a capital mistake to have good ideas before one has data. If I knew something of the man's appearance, at least, I may be in a better position to help. Yes, Drebber's appearance. Fortunately for you, however, presently I have a little to occupy myself and a little to fill my stomach. As soon as we find any clue, no matter how small, I shall gladly give you my thoughts on it. Okay, well, we'll still say that. Here you go. Mr. Sholmes, would you cast your eyes under this picture? It's a Mr. Enoch Drebber, the face of the engineer we seek. Well, all engagement look broadly the same, of course, so looking at the photograph won't be particularly instructive. Are you all right, Mr. Sholmes? What is like? He's like, wait a minute, what is going on here? I just talked to this guy today. Yes. Forgive me. Very interesting. Very interesting. This very interesting indeed. What's wrong, Mr. Sholmes? You turned quite pale all of a sudden. Okay, well, he didn't really say anything about that. Mr. Sholmes, did you lie to us? My dear Mr. Naruhodo, stay that piercing stare. What is this about? Last winter, when we were first on our way to Britain aboard the steamship. Your words were very clear. Till then, let us unravel the mystery and discover what events led to this curious murder. You told us that it was murder, and you examined Kazuma-sama's body. Indeed, and wherein lies the problem? We met him earlier today, the victim, Kazuma Sogi. You're quite sure? He was wearing some sort of mask, and was apparently suffering from amnesia. But yes, I'm quite sure it was Kazuma-sama. You must have known at the time, Mr. Sholmes, that he wasn't actually dead. Well, I can only assume I was swept up in the murderous atmosphere of the moment. But the fellow wasn't dead at all. I don't know, dude, I don't think you can laugh this one off. Priceless. I don't suppose that performance would pass muster, would it, Mr. Nar? Yeah, like, oh, like, yeah, I don't think you guys are buying that one, are you? No. I could believe that the crewman present at the time would have made a mistake. But not you, Mr. Sholmes. He asked you, sorry, I can't tell you why. I will now tell you something of the first importance, my dear fellow. Great detectives are wont to lie. It will serve you well to remember that. Please, Mr. Sholmes. Tomorrow in court, you will find yourself on the threshold of a very great mystery. For now, I'm afraid that's all I can say. I have a suggestion, Mr. Naruhodo. Will you indulge me? Oh, well, what is it? As I explained to you when you arrived, the missing waxwork has been returned, and I personally reinstalled it in the exhibit from which it was taken behind those thick curtains. Oh, yes. The professor exhibit, isn't it? Would you like to see it? For a mere 5 shillings. That's a special one-time only price, you understand? 5... What? The opportunity won't come again, I might add. Wouldn't you like to see the fruits of my labor? We only have 5 shillings left. Dude, what are we gonna do? Oh, well, we do have rather pressing investigation to carry out. Perhaps we could postpone? The price is very reasonable. It's a very reasonable 5 shillings. I think you'll find it as well. It's well worth it. Huh? Are you being quite serious, Mr. Sholmes? Surely you need only look at my expression to ascertain if this is seriousness or silliness. I can never tell with you. That's the point. Very well. It couldn't hurt. Here's your 5 shillings. Gratefully received. So, the special exhibit awaits behind the curtain. I invite you to peruse it at your leisure. Back to being a statue. Well, the money's been spent, so let's go and see the special exhibit. Through those very curtains at last. $5 what we've had to pay. It doesn't seem right somehow. It doesn't seem right somehow that Mr. Soames slipped the money into his own pocket, does it? No. Ah, we could ask Gina to retrieve it for us, using her special skills. Pickpocketing police officers and diddling detectives. Is that what makes Britain great? Not to mention demigod prosecutors taking the law into their own hands, or chip-loving inspectors. Inspector Gregson comes off rather well in that list, I think. That seems normal. Madame Tussauds spells special exhibit. Wait, he said he raised, but there's no head. Oh dear, I felt a shiver run down my spine as soon as we walked in here. Mr. Zato, I say we turn on the heels and go straight home via a really big confectionery. We We certainly can't do that. We've paid 5 shillings already. Not even not she can't even be baited with the confectionaries anymore. No. True. The worst is, yeah, but it seems he's missing his head. Actually, now I'm looking a little more closely. He's missing his head. We paid a good money to see an exhibit that's clearly incomplete. The nerve of the great diddling detective is far more terrifying than anything else in this place. This must be what Mr. Stone said meant when he said the case was largely solved. Be that as it may, Mr. Soames heavily implied that there'd be a clue about the engineer here, didn't he? But where? Since we paid 5 shillings, let's do 5 shillings worth of investigation, shall we? Yes, we will get what we paid for. Is that fear or frustration that's making Sasato's voice tremble? This part of the exhibit is just as disturbing as the rest. It looks so real. There seems to be a young man in a white overcoat, and he has a large shovel in his hand too. Look. Perhaps we should investigate in a little more detail. Oh! You see, it's not... I can't see his face very well. Can you? Perhaps it's just if I just... Oh, do you think you should... Do you think you should be handling the exhibit, Mr. Naruhodo? I'll put it back exactly as it was. Don't worry. Hey, hold on. Ah, what on earth? How can... I don't believe it. A black monocle. Mr. Naruhodo, is it possible that this man is... Yes. It's Enoch Drebber. The color of his hair is different, but it's unmistakably him. Indeed it is. Oh, Mr. Sholmes. This man is the subject of your present hunt, I believe. Yes, that's right. Just who is this man? Why is he here in this exhibit? And why does the company behind him have no head? This head was missing when the model was returned by the thief who stole it. What a surprise. So then the case isn't yet solved, is it? Did I not say so myself? Largely solved were my words, I believe. But I must locate this missing head, toot the sweet, as Madam would say, or I'll be in grave trouble. Very hungry Iris still awaits my return to Baker Street, preferably with rations. Ah. Do you know though, something about this room is strange. Strange? What do you mean? Well, the displays of the House of Horror are supposed to depict real events, are they not? But he's coming out the grave. Indeed they are, Mr. Zato. Do go on, but how is the dude coming out the grave? And as terrifying as they are, the scenes of the other exhibits are believable. But this one... Yeah, he's coming out of a grave? This surely couldn't ever really have happened, could it? It did. I think it's time I educated you a little about the nature of the incidents involving the professor 10 years ago. Hmm? The professor. I believe it told you a little about the professor yesterday, did I not? He took the lives of 5 victims, everyone being a member of the aristocracy or royalty. All were attacked by an enormous hunting hound. Whoa! Been attacked by an enormous hunting hound and had their throats ripped from their body. Holy jeez. Oh my gosh, an enormous hound. How awful. The hound of the Baskervilles. After taking the life of the 5th victim, the killer was apprehended. It was a case of unprecedented magnitude in Britain, you understand? Accordingly, gallows, the professor was tried in a closed court. No members of the public were permitted. A closed court? So you mean that the professor's identity as you surmised, my dear fellow, is unknown. His identity was never made public. Naturally, he was found guilty and was summarily sentenced to death by hanging. He was buried in a grave at Lowgate Cemetery, which adjoins the rear of the prison where he had been killed. However, that was not the end of the affair. What? Oh. The very night that he was buried, the convicted man came back to life. Huh? Came back to life. He clawed his way out of the ground and emerged into the moonlight graveyard. The exhibit here depicts that very scene as described by the sole witness through those chilling events. There was a witness, but of course, my dear fellow, it was none other than the young man in the white overcoat. Enoch Drebber. He saw it happen. Yeah, so so judging by as we just learned, the Hound of the Baskervilles is the Professor case. As they're surrounded by, so that's how he killed people with a dog. So this is a waxwork model of Enoch Drebber. 10 years ago, the convicted professor, having been gibbeted. Hold on, how do you say it? Gibbeted, and buried, emerged from his grave in the dead of night. The sole witness was that unimaginable scene was this young man. From appearances, I would say he was about 20 years old. It's so horrifying. Scared out of his wits, the young driver ran to a nearby police station to report the incident. And the sheer terror of what he's seen is said to have turned his hair white overnight. Yes, as shown in the photograph we have of him, his hair is completely white. For the following few days, the story of what he's seen was on every front page in the capital. The public was frantic for every last detail about the killer who'd come back to life. As you've seen, an exhibit was even created here at the Madame Tussauds. I can quite understand why the man's hair turned white, certainly, but what I don't understand is what Mr. Drebber was doing in the first place, in a lonely graveyard in the middle of the night with a shovel. Yes, what was he up to? I have a bleeding idea. The professor's acts of terror threw the London's upper classes into complete panic 10 years ago. It was a great scandal, one might say, at the very highest levels of society. And since the killer's identity was never made public, rumors abounded. After all, no killer had ever before systematically employed a dog as a weapon of murder. Yes, I can imagine the impact the case must have had, but in time, of course, the rumors abated. So too did talk of the shocking witness account of this convict who came back to life. It was forgotten, dismissed as a dubious ghost story, as a preposterous parlor tale. But why did people stop believing? Why? Simply because there was no resurrections to speak of, as was established in fact. What? What do you mean by no resurrection? Nope, the police investigated the grave in Lowgate Cemetery and published their findings. The convict's body was found to be buried exactly where it had been following the execution. No, but that would be Mr. Drebber must have lied to the police and the newspapers. That would appear to be the only logical explanation. Yes, the young man subsequently vanished from society, and nothing has been heard of him since. It's rather striking, then, that he should resurface now, don't you think? Of course, the convicted murderer couldn't really have come back to life. It's not possible. But Drebber's hair is unusually white, and if that really did happen overnight as a result of shock, it's hard to believe that the incident was out and out lie. This must be the killer, if we know as the professor. Yes, I think so. According to what the Madame Tussauds said, he killed 5 victims, all noble royal blood. The waxwork is so lifelike, isn't it? Like all the models in this place. I know, this looks like it could start moving any moment, doesn't it? If only it had a head, that is. Perhaps we just should examine it in a little more detail. So this is the condemned man. Yes, so-called professor. Then perhaps his head was chopped off by a guillotine, but unable to find peace, he emerged from his grave, and as it goes, do we have to entertain such terrifying ideas, Mr. Sato? Anyway, I'm sure the model had a head once. There's a metal fitting for it, see? Then perhaps Mr. Soames absentmindedly forgot to reattach it. That's an extremely absent-minded detective you're describing, isn't it? Or perhaps the thief absent-mindedly forgot to include the head when he or she returned it to the museum. And that would be an extremely absent-minded thief. Could there have been some reason why only the head wasn't returned? Well, whatever the reason, it means we don't know what the face of the infamous professor looked like, do we? Oh. There's something caught just inside the comic's jacket there. Glass! It looks like a piece of glass. Yeah, almost like glass from the Crystal Tower. And quite a big piece too. It's very thick, isn't it? About 5 times thicker than normal window glazing, I'd say. Where could such a thick piece of glass come from, I wonder? I suppose it must have been made thick to increase its strength. But why? Well, perhaps because the glass had to span a particularly wide area. This is a big building, for example. Well, we've seen a large glass building recently, haven't we? And some of the glass was broken too. You don't mean exactly the Crystal Tower at the Great Exhibition. But why would the glass from the Crystal Tower be lodged inside this waxworks jacket? It makes you think, doesn't it? Earlier in court, we established that the Kinesis Examiner was a trick. And now we discovered this fragment of glass here in this waxwork. It's just a coincidence. Is it just a coincidence? Nothing particular, no. Oh yeah, we're not done with here. This particular part of the exhibit. What's this here? Well, this would appear to be a lens in the middle, so camera. I believe it's probably a camera. A camera, but it's so small. British technology is incredible, isn't it? I mean, what about Mr. Soames' skin prints? I think perhaps you should treat Mr. Soames' inventions as exceptions to the rule. But anyway, why would the man be in a graveyard at night with a camera? I wonder. Perhaps he was trying to capture the moment the dead body came back into its ghost to film it. But how did he know that? Well, we'll just borrow this for a little while, I think. By looking at the photograph plate inside the camera, we can see a picture was taken. What's a photographic plate? It's a piece of glass coated in special emulsion that reacts to the light coming in through the lens. If you open the cover at the back of the camera, you should find it. Let's have a look. You should see yourself, Sato. Your eyes are shining. You really do like machinery, don't you? It's quite a large light the man's carrying, or is it a lantern? It's a lantern. It's not, or is it a lantern? It's not unlike Japanese chochin paper lanterns, actually. Unlike a Japanese chochin paper lantern, actually, is it? Lamp, lantern, chochin. The point is, it casts very little light. To be walking alone in a graveyard at night with only this. Well, I certainly couldn't do it. I'm not sure I could visit a graveyard at all, even in broad daylight, to be honest. What a large shovel. He's holding it rather ominously, isn't he? What on earth was the man doing with the shovel in the graveyard in the middle of the night? Mrs. Otto. Yes? That's a spade, isn't it? Oh my god, is he like I'm gonna give you a Susato takedown if you don't shut up. No, it's a shovel. No. Shovels are for digging. That's for scooping up loose material. It's a spade. We've been through this, Mr. Arahodo. It's a shovel. No. Although we haven't considered trowels. We've allowed ourselves to be distracted, I feel. Perhaps we should consider attention to what the man was doing with the implement. So we're going to bury the hatchet. You're right, though. What was the man doing in the graveyard in the first place? That's the real question. Okay. There you go. Okay, yeah. Ah! Oh, well, what in the bleeding Nora, Oda? What have you got? What have you gone and done? Gina, what are you doing here? I asked Iris, and she said this is where you get to be. So, Gina, not so loud in the museum. Madame Tussauds will have you take a position in the master if you're not careful. I think there might be it'd be a more pressing concern. I still had some flash powder left from 6 months ago, so all right, Gina, we understand, but please put down the gun. Holy what the cause of sorry, I got scared. Yeah, we realize you're kind of a little bit of a scaredy cat, aren't you? But I mean, those two things, I mean, anyone would be scared of those. You should try being the one on the other end of the barrel. So, what brings you here, Gina? We found him. What brings me here? What do you think? We found it. We found that Dojiko's workshop. What? You found Drebber's workshop? Yup. Toby's nose took me straight there. The boss and the others are heading over there now in a drag, so come on. Here's your address. I got boss to write it out. Oh, thank you, Gina. I'll make our way there at once. All right then, see you there. Oh, he's like, no, I want to go. You go. Don't mind me. I'll just stay here, being still. No, he's like a mystery unraveled. I have to stay here. What? I know my place in the exhibit over there. Oh dear, someone is feeling so sorry for himself. Let's go, Mr. Sholmes. You're coming. Your words hurt me, I must say, but if I were to shirk my duties here, Madam would have me pay monetary recompense, and Iris's dinner plate would be empty once. Forget that. I'll pay for everything. Then there's not a moment to lose, my dear fellow. I shall hail a carriage at once. Ooh. No offer to share the cost from Mr. Sholmes, then. I shall gladly pay half, Mr. Naruhodo. Thank you, Mr. Sato. Right, let's go. Because yeah, they do get allowance. Enoch Drebber's workshop. Made entirely out of wood. That looks like... Oh, it's another super high voltage instantaneous kinesis machine. Indeed, it would appear so, though only a prototype, naturally. Ah, so you got here then. Gina, well done for finding this place. And in such little time. You really work miracles. It's Toby here, who's the miracle worker. Woof. Ah, I thought you lot would show. Wait, why is his eyes closed? I thought you lot would show up before long. Hello, Inspector. That's one knitted brow. He looks like he's eating a lemon, not a bag of fish. And oh, the smell, yeah. So, Inspector, Is there any sign of the engineer? Sadly not. We didn't find a soul in here. Oh, what a shame. Well, thank you for letting us know about this place and giving us a chance to investigate. According to what Gina tells me, we only found it thanks to the clue that you lot turned up. I wouldn't want to say go to Paris with a debt of gratitude unpaid now, would I? Thank you. Anyway, if you're hoping to snoop around in here, I get cracking. Lord Vancy's and the forensic investigation team are on their way here as we speak. And again, them again. Imagine you've got got the picture right now. They don't take too kindly to lawyer types. Right. So then, my dear fellow, let's turn this place upside down whilst we have the chance. And you, Sholmes. Pardon? They take even less kindly to great detectives than they do to lawyers. Very droll, Gregson. Very, very droll. But you may consider me nothing more than a inconspicuous waxwork model. Right then. Let's see what we can find in here. Ah, this appears to be most interesting. Yes, most interesting indeed. Wouldn't you say? It's an impressive looking back massager, that's for sure. I have no doubt that if you hit your shoulder a few times with that, your aches and pains would soon go away. What are you talking about? It's a Royal Society trophy for excellence in science. The young scientist could wish for no higher honor. Ah, so he was right. Dr. Harebrain was right that he is a true scientist. Ah, would you like a massage? No, I'm fine. Thank you. I had no idea it was such a grand thing. I think it's becoming increasingly clear that there's much more to this Mr. Enoch River than me conjuring tricks. I couldn't agree more, my dear madam. And how about you, Mr. Naruhodo? Wouldn't you like to take it with you? For your tired shoulders, of course. He's not going to let that go, is he? It's curious though, isn't it? You would expect such an important trophy to be proudly on display somewhere, but not haphazardly cast aside. English gentlemen can be quite a mystery at times. Let's check it out. There's a little metal plaque here. Look. Prospering burgeoning talent for the future of scientific discovery. It seems rather ironic, doesn't it? But clearly Mr. Dribber really was a very talented scientist. Oh, I never examined it. This piece of glass is almost as thick as it is wide. Yes, I've never seen anything like it. If you were to compare it to a human, only Mr. Sholmes has such thick skin. There's really no need for such comparison, Mr. Naruhodo, as you well know. Anyway, it can only be from the Crystal Tower, surely. Yes, I think so too. It was probably made especially to meet the demands of that great structure. What on earth is this? Oh, is it? To us, it's obviously it's an airplane, but them, it's like, what is that? An aeroplane, Mr. Naruhodo. One day, scientists believe it will allow humans to fly freely in the skies. Is that how the trick will be described? Is it? Sorry? Well, it's actually suspended by thin but very strong cable, isn't it? Oh, well, this model is, yes, but a real airplane would actually fly high in the sky, while suspended from somewhere even higher in the sky, of course, because large metal obviously can't really stay in the midair unsupported. So to you, the solution is ever taller towers. Oh, look at the bolts. I'm sorry, Mr. Naruhodo. The machine is covered by the special dispensation for Scientific Equipment Act. There would be serious repercussions if we were to examine it from the Crown and the government. Oh! Yeah, well, these two don't see the care. Well, those two don't seem to be holding back. They're quite hollow inside. No working parts or devices at conception to be seen, my dear fellow. No loose chain dropped on the floor nor nothing. Not even a bone for Toby here, my dear fella. British people are very much ruled by their own ideals, aren't they? I think that's just these two, Mrs. Otto. Cross bolts. This is it's a European style clipper of arrows with steel bolts inside. Oh, you suppose. Crossbow bolts these, and just the right size for the bow you lot turned up at the exhibition grounds. In other words, yep, that's more evidence to support your theory. It all goes to show that Trevor was the one pulling the strings behind the scenes of the whole scam. This door, it doesn't want to open. Yeah, looks like it's got a pretty hefty lock on it. There's a specialist locksmith on the way over from the yard, so hands off till he gets here. With permission, Inspector, I could have the lock open in less than a minute. Well, you don't have permission, and no one's giving it to you. No one's giving it to you. No one's giving it to you. Grayson looks like those who really enjoyed that. Well, there's no sign of anybody on the other side. No, Trevor must have fled at the first sign of danger. Huh? Oh, is something wrong, Miss Susato? Well, I thought I heard a noise from the far side of that door. Well, Gina, did you hear it too? Yeah, I heard it and all. What do you reckon, Toby? Right, mind the grease. Whoever's in there, open up. This is Scotland Yard. Uh-oh. Ran. Uh-oh. It looks like someone. Oh my. Someone is in there. Ah, this rotten bleeding lock. My dear Gregson, as I said only minutes ago, if only there were the countenance, I can lock the door in less than a minute. Yeah. Fine, do it. Fine, I'll take the rap for it. Just get us through that blasted door. There, you may enter at will. You've confused minute with seconds, I think. Time is of the essence, I feel. What are we waiting for? Nothing for it, I suppose. This is an emergency. There's a strong possibility that beyond that door is the engineer you all seek. Be prepared for action, my dear fellow. Yes. He's dead. Whoa. Hey, is that TNT you see in the middle there? What's happened here? Why is everything upside down? Rats, there ain't no one here after all. But there must be. It was only moments ago that we heard those noises. Maybe that was the sound of Trevor running away. But there's only one door in this room, into this room. And no windows that could afford an escape route. Those skylights are too high. There must be an escape route. What's that up there? Are they footprints on the ceiling? Blow me. What have we here then? It looks like someone was trying to burn something in a hurry. Oh, that looks like a set of blueprints. To what? That Professor Hairbrain's Barmy machine, is it? Blimey! If we had these, there'd be no need to muck about trying to investigate all that scrap metal. There's something something of great interest here too. This rope was lying on the floor at the foot of that pillar. A rope? What's significant about that? Never mind. You see, but you do not observe, Mr. Naruhodo. We must investigate the entire room thoroughly, and before the forensic investigation team arrive too. Yeah, okay, let's save the bomb for last because I feel like we're gonna have there's no denying it, is there? Their footprints. Yes, it would appear so. And I simply can't imagine how they came to be there. Isn't there a Suzato shoot up or something? Like a Suzato takedown, I mean. I'm no Wonder Woman, Mr. Naruhodo. The year is right, actually. Well, actually, no, it's not. It was 19th, 19th, not 18th. That would make her almost superhuman, I suppose. That's a really lovely model. Just looks like just a it looks just like a real flying balloon. I think it's probably seeing a lot of the same principle as a full-size, balloon using gas. A green flying balloon. It does have the hallmarks of the amazing deception at the Great Exhibition, doesn't it? Could it be? That the whole thing was planned here in this very workshop? Oh, okay. Oh. Okay, safe. That's a very large safe. I don't suppose even Mr. Soames could open that lock. Although, if you were a thief, you could just steal the entire thing, I suppose. It's bolted to the floor to prevent exactly that sort of underhanded trick, Mr. Naruhodo. Well then, he could just steal the floor as well. You're stupid. I'm sorry, but you really aren't making any sense at all. Anyway, I think we can agree that whatever is inside must be very important. Almost every piece of furniture is upside down. Even Mr. Stone's suite isn't ever in this much of a mess. You're in no position to comment on mess, Mr. Naruhodo, but I suppose it's not quite the same thing, is it? I mean, it's not messy in here per se. It's that everything is literally upside down. Oh. Well, except for the books and stuff, but oh no, he's right. Everything. Well, the furniture and stuff is upside down, but the room is not. The bookcase isn't. The photo frames aren't. So why? Hold on, let's get everything. We got everything. Oh. Okay, let's address the elephant in the room, or the bomb in the room, sort of. Mr. Soames, have you found something? Ah, Mr. Naruhodo. Yes, in point of fact, something rather fascinating. No! Something rather fascinating. What do you mean? What do you make of this? Huh? Let's see. I've never seen anything like this, like it before. That seems to be, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 7 sticks of dynamite. TNT. It looks like a bundle of thick cigars wrapped up in a large box to me, but Mrs. Otto, what's the matter? That's a explosive. Surely that's a time bomb, isn't it? What? Did you just say? Did you say a time bomb? Sorry, but what is a time bomb exactly? Huh? You truly are one of a kind, Mr. Naruhodo. You never even seen? Yeah, no, he had no idea. He's like, huh, what is this? These sticks of dynamite. He was unaware. You're truly one of a kind, Mr. Naruhodo. I won't take that as a compliment. You shouldn't. He meant that derogatorily. Ha! You don't know nothing, do you, Odo? You haven't got a clue what it is either, have you, Gina? I invite you to consult the dictionary later, Mr. Naruhodo. But this particular specimen is no time bomb, though I confess it has a very similar appearance. Oh, it's a dud? Oh, well, thank goodness. But then, what is it? I see. So that's it. Goodness, Mr. Sholmes, have you seen to the heart of the matter? Like, yeah, we gotta go. There are times where I consider my loss most unfair, for I'm fated to never know how it feels to flatter as you do when a puzzle presents itself. But I have learned to accept the hardships that come with being a great detective, Mrs. Otto. Here we go. I feel a great detection coming. Once again, I can draw 2 conclusions from the scene that we see before us. The first is that the inverted nature of this furniture in this room is the work of Trevor himself. Oh, but how could you? And the second conclusion is that the small device on the floor there is without question completely genuine. But please, Mr. Sholmes, you must explain everything. The bomb it's a real bomb. It would be a pleasure. After all, it's a great detective's specific duty to teach Scotland Yard's the finer points of the trade. Uh-oh. His eyebrows are giga-furrowed. Well, Inspector Gregson seems delighted with the idea anyway. Oh, you deflected the infector's glare with such a fortitude there, Mr. Sholmes. Well done. You're too kind, my dear madam. I hereby dedicate the great demonstration detection to you. Kindly stand just there, Mrs. Otto. Oh, yes. I'd be delighted. So, shall we begin? Once again, Sherlock Sholmes is proud to present his logic and reasoning spectacular. The great detection. The game is afoot. Flip furniture. It's plain to see that this room is in complete disarray. The bed, the table, and chairs, the lamps, everything is upside down. Almost as if every item in this room had recently been happily positioned on the ceiling, which is true. Before falling straight down onto the floor. Every item in the room was on the ceiling. Are you suggesting that? Indeed, the key. Oh! The key here is gravity. It would appear that technology has at last succeeded in freeing us from the great pull of the earth. Okay, Char Asinable. Oh my gosh. Where the gravity in this room was reversed and then was suddenly restored to a normality. Okay, well that's not... Goodness. The inverted furniture clearly reveals the truth about the part gravity played in this whole mess. I quite understand your skepticism, Mr. Zato. Skepticism. I too was incredulous at first. However, my conviction in my analysis was cemented when I observed this. The anti-gravity device, almost identical to one of that featured in a dream of mine only the other day. In fact, this guy. But then why does this have a clock on it? A most relevant question indeed. This is a timing device that controls when the gravity direction will switch. There was clearly a requirement for the engineer to be able to restore normal gravity automatically. And the commotion we heard earlier was from the other side of the door. And the commotion we heard earlier from the other side of the door was the moment the restoration occurred. Yes, the reason why everything in here has been turned upside down is because of the anti-gravity device. So you see, you need to look no further to explain the state in which we now find this room. The direction in which gravity acts in here was reversed by Mr. Drebber. Before being restored to normality in an automatic fashion, but sometime later by the timer device. I have witnessed precisely the scene in a dream I once had when I fell out of bed. This guy, deeply unserious, because gravity was reversed. Missing engineer. Now, let us consider the next conundrum. What was our engineer friend's aim? Indubitably, the greatest clue we have to explain his actions is above our heads. Yes, how is it possible that there are footprints all the way up there on the ceiling? A question whose answer will lead us neatly to the truth, my dear madam. The reason there are footprints on the ceiling is because of the nearby skylight. Of course, Mr. Drebber's aim was singular, to escape. There's something on the ceiling, I noticed. However, there is but one way into this room, excepting the skylight, that is. Ah. Woo! By inverting the gravity in here, Drebber was able to fall conveniently to the ceiling and make his escape via the otherwise inaccessible skylight, leaving those footprints behind on the way. But the ceiling here is very high, Mr. Soames. If the gravity reversal was sudden, wouldn't Mr. Drebber have fallen up to the ceiling rather violently? Falling up is both scientifically and philosophically a rather interesting concept, I feel. But the man was cornered with nowhere to run, so escape through the skylight was his only option. You may recall that I found this in the room earlier, which I believe offers a solution. The rope? Oh, the rope. To reach the intended destination, what better tool than this rope? By anchoring one end to the wall, the man was able to lower himself safely to the ceiling. Which explains how Drebber was able to escape this room before our arrival. He reversed the pull of gravity and fled via the skylight. And personally, I should very much like to reverse the pull of gravity again now, just for fun. I don't think, I'm gonna go on a limb and say that's not right. That thus concludes Sherlock Holmes' great deduction of this topsy-turvy puzzle. Nope, not that. Yeah, they're lost interest. Yeah, I'm gonna say that was a little bit, well, a lot off the mark. She's completely spellbound. Mr. Sholmes, there is just one thing that troubles me. I would expect nothing less. You're just destined to be troubled by just one thing for the rest of your life. The thing is such a thing actually possible? An anti-gravity device, I mean. I would say that with man's current scientific knowledge at the turn of the 12th century, it is no more possible than instantaneous kinesis. Wait, did he say 13th century? Oh, wait, what year is it then? The 13th century. So it's not, it can't be, so it's a 1400s? Because the 20th century was, yeah. But your whole deduction hinges on it. Ah, but my dear fellow, when you have eliminated the impossible, whatever remains must be the truth, however improbable it may seem. It's a marvelous line. Wouldn't you agree? One of my more enduring pearls of wisdom. I had Iris come up with that exact phrasing. My original was clumsy. Yes, I have a feeling that I've read it in something that Mrs. Otto lent me once.
Objection.
Actually, there is one other thing, Mr. Sholmes. Nice objection, Mrs. Otto. Ah, the spell's broken at last. The rope you found was on the floor, wasn't it? Indeed it was, in lonely coils near the wall. But if Mr. Drebber had used it excuse me, he had used it to escape in the way you described, wouldn't it still be tied to the wall? Mysteries inevitably unravel in the end, as I think you'll find through ropes. And as evidence of such, you need only look at the mystery we face in this room, now skillfully unraveled. The argument is as circular as the coils of rope. I think perhaps we might need to give Mr. Sholmes the usual little helping hand. I'm sure with some minor corrections, the great detective's deductions will lead us to the truth. Yes, you're right. And we must do it quickly before Enoch Drebber gets too far away. You're ready. If you're ready, then let's resume. Sherlock Sholmes, logic and reasoning spectacular. Course correction. Hold it, Mr. Sholmes. It's plain to see that this room is in complete disarray. The bed, the table, and chairs, the lamp, everything is upside down. Almost as if every item in the room had, until recently, been happily positioned on the ceiling, before falling straight down onto the floor. Every item in the room was on the ceiling. Every item in the room was on the ceiling. Are you suggesting that? Indeed, the key here is gravity. It would appear that technology has last succeeded for freeing us from the great pull of the earth. So the gravity in this room was reversed and then suddenly restored to normality. Goodness! The inverted furniture clearly reveals the truth about the part gravity played in this case. To think gravity could have been reversed in this very room, I find the whole idea utterly enthralling. Only Mr. Sholmes could conceive of such an explanation. But the man himself admitted it was a scientific impossibility, so yes, you're quite right. You must completely discount the idea at once. Oh, that's unusually merciless of you, Mr. Zato. When you have eliminated the impossible, whatever remains must be the truth. The great detective himself said so, didn't he? While refusing to part with his dreams of anti-gravity devices. Yes, I suppose so. Well, let's see if examining this top-security scene a little more closely reveals some proof that it's so suspected what the gravity in this room was or wasn't doing. Well, no, you see, it's not everything was inverted. All right, well, I wasn't expecting to find a pretty bunch of flowers in here, but that's for sure. Ah, look at that. I know, that slender face looks like it's about to topple any moment, but the flowers are thriving. Somehow it makes you think of the fragility of life. What did you say? What are you talking about? To be honest, Mr. Naruhodo, something else about it made a rather deeper impression on me. Yeah, I'm guessing it's this. But not everything.
Take that!
Upright vase. The upright vase clearly reveals the truth about the point of part gravity played in this whole business. Upon my word, Mr. Naruhodo, you surpassed yourself by completely turning my argument on its head. Trying to impress your assistant here, perhaps? Huh? No one is trying to steal your spotlight here, Mr. Sholmes. Trust me. As you rightly say, though it appears at first glance that all the furniture of the room is upside down, this unassuming slender vase is standing keenly to attention. And unlike the large safe, there is nothing affixing it to the floor. And that it's the exception that breaks the rule. And sure, as much as it pains me, the gravity in this room was never inverted at all. Why? My deepest sympathies for you, for your loss. Oh, poor Mr. Sholmes. But the show must go on, so let us continue with our deductions. Now that we know this contrivance is not in fact an acting gravity device, there remains but one other possibility. You don't say. Someone deliberately turned over every piece of furniture in here, which might sound obvious, but leaves one mystery very much unsolved. Namely, why would anyone choose to do that? Quite, and naturally, there is an explanation. Yes, there's a reason why everything here has been turned upside down. It's because of the anti-gravity device. Nope. He's absolutely determined that this device must have something to do with it, isn't he? I'm afraid he's the lord of the exciting explanation. Scientific explanation is too strong. Well, there's no doubt that somebody did this. Somebody turned all this furniture over. So whoever it was must have had a reason. I'm afraid nothing comes to mind at all, though. Well, let's look around and see if the answer presents itself. Yeah, it's easy. It's the safe code. The safe code on the back of the seat. Look, there's something written on the other side of this armchair. Oh yes, safe. Number 432582. Safe, as in safe and secure? As in secure lockable box, I mean, I think. Admittedly, more likely. Well, there is a large safe bolted to the floor on the other side of the room, so yes. So you mean this number would let us open it? I wonder why it's written out here, though.
Take that!
Take that! Yes, the reason why everything is in here has been turned upside down is because of the safe combination. Precisely. I believe, Mr. Naruhodo, that you had a very similar experience once. Did you not? Yes, last year, when I brought a lottery ticket and noted the ticket number down on the inside of a inside cover of a book just in case. That's it. For people who are forgetful souls at heart and always make a written note of important information. Just keeping the ticket itself safe would be more sensible, I think. And what, pray, happened next, Mr. Naruhodo? When the day of the draw came round, I'd forgotten which book I'd written the number in and had to turn my room upside down to find it. That's it. For people who are forgetful souls at heart and always forget where they noted things down. No, not if you always note things in the same place. I actually won the second prize, you know? But I couldn't remember which magazines I slipped the ticket into, so I had my turn. Okay, thank you, Mr. Naruhodo, but I believe I proved my point now. Like, okay, enough of the yapping, bro. Which is a very similar scenario has clearly unfolded in this room. Finding himself requiring access to the safe, the occupant of this room needed the combination code. He remembered that he'd written it on the other side of a piece of furniture, but forgot which one, leading to the state in which we now find the room. Yes, Mr. Drebber overturned all the furniture in here in a desperate hurry to locate the combination code that would unlock the safe. There we go. Flip furniture. Escape and how he escaped now. Now, let us consider the next conundrum. What was our engineer friend's aim? Indubitably, the greatest clue we have to explain his actions is above our heads. Yes. How is it possible that there are footprints all the way up there on the ceiling? A question whose answer will lead us neatly to the truth, my dear madam. I read that as him again. The reason there are footprints on the ceiling is because of the nearby skylight. Well, if a change in the direction of gravity can't explain it, then how do those footprints get there? Yes, I feel as though that particular mystery has just become even harder to solve. I can't think of any other way to explain it at all. Ooh, life was so much simpler than those Halleys. I did this before. How do you use halcyon?
Halcyon.
Halcyon days when gravity could be reversed. It was minutes ago, and those halcyon days never existed in the first place. Well, I suppose we must simply put our faith in Mr. Soames and observe that area in more detail. Putting our faith in Mr. Soames is what gets us into these situations in the first place. It's not... It's hard to believe, but there's a shoe up there. Look! Oh, yes, and there are more footprints on this little balloon, too. Perhaps the shoe was thrown up there because it came large, do you think? If so, then judging from the number of footprints, it must have been thrown up several times. Why would anyone be throwing shoes up here, though? Oh dear, that's beyond me, I'm afraid.
Take that!
The reason there are footprints on the ceiling is because of the nearby shoe. And on closer inspection, there are clearly footprints all over the balloon as well. In other words, the aim was never the skylight at all, but the balloon. But for what purpose? A green balloon. That seems somewhat familiar data. Ah! It was a piece of the green balloon envelope that Mr. Naruhodo and Iris found at the scene. And inside the green balloon that Mr. Gotts claimed he saw above the stage when the incident occurred was the second birdcage, the crux of the whole instantaneous kinesis deception. You mean to say, if we assume the balloon here is a model of the one used on the day, there is a strong possibility that something may be concealed inside it. Something our absconder was desperate to retrieve before making a hasty getaway. But the balloon's out of reach. Hence why he resorted to a projectile, namely the shoe. Ah! Most probably, Drebber intended to tear a hole in the envelope by assailing with the shoe. However, his efforts were thwarted by when the shoe itself became a prisoner of those lofty heights. Oh dear. We desperately need to examine that balloon. If only there were some way we could see inside. If you may recall, I found this in the room earlier. I believe that it offers a solution. Oh, the rope. To reach the intended destination, what better tool than this rope? Mr. Soames has managed to bring the deduction back to the rope. All right, I have to admit, that was clever. So we just throw the rope up to the balloon and then pull it down to us on the ground, which is much easier said than done, I feel. It could take us a very long time as well. True, perhaps we need a more surefire method. In fact, we already have one, of course, don't we? Oh, easy, duh. Use this.
Take that!
The crossbow. To reach the intended destination, what better tool than this crossbow? We found it at the scene, in fact, and in all likelihood belongs to Mr. Drebber. If the man had only brought it away with him that day, he could have avoided losing his shoe at such a critical time as this. So, shall we? Your curiosity is deeply stirred, no doubt, my dear fellows. What is it? What is that? What is it that Enoch Drebber has hidden inside that balloon? Hold on. I have to use the washroom. 1 second. Okay, I'm back. Sorry. What's inside that balloon? Oh. Ah. What? What the? It's the mask of the thing, the mold, or not the wax model. What the? A waxwork? Indeed, it is. A waxwork head inside a metal mask. The mask that is shut tight and fastened with a strong and quick, quite impenetrable lock, so we can't see the face inside. That means. Just a moment. This is the head of the waxwork model. Does that mean? Oh goodness, the professor. Indeed, I see you joined the dots, Miss Luzzatto. Excellent. Ah, of course, a headless waxwork model. The case of the abducted Madame Tuspel's model that you'd largely solved. It was only the head of the killer that was still missing. Indeed, it was. But I believe Madame Tuspel will now have to settle her sizable account with me. This, as you have now surmised, is the head of the infamous professor. Yes, but why is it here? This conclusively confirms my suspicions. Drebber was the one who took the wax model. The man responsible for stealing the professor from the Madame Tuspel's and returning it, sans tête, earlier today was none other than Enoch Drebber. This is incredible. Professor Harebrain's case and the waxwork abduction are connected, are inextricably linked by Enoch Drebber's workshop. Well, it appears our logical pleasure cruise has come to an end, my dear fellows. All that remains is, yes, to speak with the architect of this adventure. The architect? Uh-oh, you think he's still here? You mean Mr. Drebber? As it seems quite impossible that he escaped via one of the skylights. Obviously, the man must still be here in the room. What? And his location should be abundantly clear. If you'll simply reflect on the journey we've made during this production. Enoch Drebber is here, right here, somewhere in this room. Oh, sorry, I don't know if you... Sorry, I hit my thing. So Mr. Naruhodo, will you do the honors? Yes, of course. Mr. Drebber's hiding place must be... Oh, well... Is it, well, if he obviously didn't make it out the skylight. So, it must be... If you need to hide, there's no better place than a wardrobe. I stand firmly by that. Ah, yes, you had some experience with that yourself a year ago, didn't you? Well, find him in there, mark my word. Maybe curl up in a ball, trembling hungrily. In fact, my own hand is trembling just thinking about making the discovery. Never mind, Mr. Naruhodo. He could be hiding somewhere else, you know? No. Look at all that mess in front of the safe. Yes, plans and accounting and ledgers. Oh, it's he's in the safe. Almost as somebody was in a hurry to empty the contents of the safe in fact. Yeah, it's here.
Take that!
Before we gained access to the back room, we heard noises from in here, which tells us that the engineer was still in the building at that point in time. He was in fact searching for the combination to a safe. And pressed for time, he made no attempt to right the wrong furniture that he overturned in the process. From which we can deduce that this search for the combination have happened very recently indeed. In summary, Mr. Enoch Drebber is at this very moment inside the safe. Thus concludes Herlock Sholmes' great deduction of this topsy-turvy puzzle. inside the safe. Possession complete. Elementary, my dear. So, Mr. Naruhodo, would you like to do the honors? I think perhaps it's time we ended this game of hide and seek, don't you? By opening the safe, you mean? What else? Let's see. The combination was 1 4 3 2 5 8 2. I knew that. All right then. Here goes. You found me. Oh, okay. Okay, can stick dance moves. Oh, he's gonna go crazy. Victor? You found me. Right then, sir. Mr. Enoch Drebber, I presume. Correct. You better start talking. You tricked Professor Harebrant with that bogus machine of you built. And you shall have to explain the depth of the waxwork to manifest the spells as well. Whilst I would be delighted to answer your many questions. Personally, I would advise that you deactivate my little parcel first. Deactivate? Your parcel? I refer to, of course, to the ticking time bomb. To the time bomb. I left in a most prominent position. Ah! Ah, ha 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 ha. I see. Stunned silence. You're all gearing up to die with me then. No! Mr. Sholmes, why with only 7 seconds to spare? That was too close to comfort. If I got 1 foot in the grave already, are you trying to help us get a killer or get us killed? Mr. Sholmes' deductions can be completely life-altering, can't they? Well, my dear fellows, that was a close shave. That the resemblance to an anti-gravity device is really quite startling, I must say. Anti-gravity devices don't exist. Ooh, I wouldn't push it, Mr. Sholmes. Okay. What on earth happened in here? It's as you deduced. You found me, haven't you? No need to screw me down any further. Everything in here is precisely what it seems. Yeah, we will be given a thorough going over. Don't you worry, Drebber. What fails to click with me is how you were able to locate my workshop. That I was not expecting. When I heard a whistling from the other room, I knew it was time to bolt. Whistling? Ah, that would have been me. Oh, why is he in the pose with wax? For some reason, I woke in a fine fettle today. Yeah, I mean, no words, just tightly squeezed chips. Clearly, I must have a screw loose though, as I couldn't remember the combination for the safe, and another one loose, as I couldn't remember on which piece of furniture I'd written it down. We also found a rope over by the wall. Yes, I hope they exit this through the skylight, but sadly the rope was too short. So, and then I set about searching for the combination code to open the safe. And burning the incriminated blueprints. Don't forget. Regrettably, though, you failed to retrieve the head from the balloon among the rafters. And after that, you hid yourself inside the safe. Having first set this parcel ticking, well, I had no intention of being nailed by the police. Got a death wish, have you? Hiding right beside a ticking time bomb. No, the safe was probably safe in the safe. Please, why do you suppose I would choose to hide inside the safe? It could withstand this blast, and it's no ordinary safe. Specifically designed, a dynamite with explosives wouldn't leave a scratch on it. So in fact, The safe was the only safe place. Precisely. But once you climb inside, you wouldn't have been able to get out again. I invite you to look more closely. The safe is fitted with a handle on the inside to allow the door to be unlocked from within. Ah, so it is. I was wondering about that too. I had always intended to blow this place to smithereens in any case. Just wasn't expecting uninvited guests to come along and screw up my plans. Do you mean to say you were planning to blow us all up? No, that was unforeseen. What do you mean? No, he's going to blow up this building. Most people run, you see, when they see a ticking time bomb at their feet. Ah, I calculated the time required for retreat to a safe distance and set the device accordingly. But your seemingly endless discourse in here threw a spanner in the works. Is something wrong, Gregson? Do I have something on my face besides the usual eye, ears, and mouth, nose, and mouth? He's gonna sock you if you keep talking. I think we've had a fairly good idea what's been going on here now. But what about the two incidents you've evidently been involved in recently? Professor Hairburn's instantaneous kinesis experiment at the Great Exhibition, and the waxwork model you stole, which this head belongs to. That's no ordinary head, you know. That's the head of the professor. Tied in a mask with a lock so strong, I'm unable to open it safely to reveal the killer's identity. I've been considering carrying it around as protection. That's enough. Uh-oh. Oh boy. What's going on here, Gregson? I'm sure you're aware that I have sole jurisdiction to investigate it here. Yes, well, Dr. Scythe again. So the forensic investigation team are here. And you know full well this engineer is a key witness. Why are you allowing this lawyer to assess him? If Lord Strongheart knew of this, you'd be finished. You lot, leave at once. My dear madam, there's no need for such threatening tone, I assure you. After all, that's no way to greet an old acquaintance, is it, Dr. Sith? Huh? Hello, Sholmes. Mr. Sholmes knows Dr. Sith? Sith? I think like Slither, but without the L and R, so it's Dr. Scythe. If it's protecting the machine next door that's causing such a sour expression on your face, you're quite misguided. It's really nothing more than a shell. You get out! But of course, we'll show ourselves at the door. I see you haven't softened at all. Mr. Naruto, yes. It would appear that our delightfully entertaining investigations have run their course for today. But, Mr. Sholmes, let us leave this place in the doctor's capable hands. I said get out, now, all of you. Your presence here is not required either, Rexon. Understood. But I'll just say one thing before I head off. If it wasn't for this lawyer and his companions, we'd never have found this place, and the whole workshop would have been blown to bits. If there was a time bomb set in here, that this lot disarmed. Inspector. Huh? Something's giving you the chuckle, has it? Grubber? Ah, so sorry. Didn't mean to offend. You're quite right, of course. You did disarm the time bomb, didn't you? Yes, you did disarm that one. Uh-oh. Eh? What are you... That one? You mean... The safe. Oh no! Uh-oh. Those two officers. It was an hour later that we heard the news of the enormous explosion that ripped through the experimentation stage of the Great Exhibition. Professor Harebrain's invention and all its secrets were blown away forever. That one? Like, what do you mean that? Oh, uh-oh. Oh, no. That one. Is there more investigation? I don't imagine there could be. Okay, no, this is the trial. Okay. Yeah, I think if you start now, it'd be too long. I think it's a good night. Yeah, yesterday we went on for too long, way too long, or not, or maybe was it yesterday or was it the day before? Whatever day it was, we went on for way longer than I wanted to. So I think we went on for some 4 hours that time. So yeah, I think that is going to be it for today. Oh, did I really not save a single time to? That's funny. But yeah, that I think that is going to be it for me for today. Uh but before we go, as always, if you like what you saw, please consider leaving a like. Follow me on Twitter, like on the YouTube, Twitch. Follow me on Twitch, Twitter, YouTube for stream going live notifications, bad tweets, and everything in between that too, or random stuff. But yeah, see ya. Bye bye. And hopefully, well, I know I forgot to say hopefully I will see you in the next stream. Bye bye. Bye 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 bye. See ya.